Hello, beloved. Welcome to your message from God. I thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate and value you. Let's proceed and tap in and see what the message is for you and why you were drawn to the title and what you need to know at this time when you are presented and watching this message. Let's go. Oh, so God is alerting me that this is the part two for Mommy Dearest, okay? Um, I only tap in if I'm allowed, okay? I don't create anything outside of God's permission to do so. So it's coming now because this is the time for it. Let's see, part two, Mommy Dearest. Mommy Dearest is a SiCKO. Oh, this is gonna be juicy, huh? So, disclaimer before we begin here, if you do not believe in the hydromancy of life, okay, if you don't believe in spirituality in terms of the dark sidedness of it, the voodoo shit, the, you know what I'm saying, the dark magic shit, all the bad stuff about it, if you don't believe in that, you need to tap out, like spell work, if you can't seem to grasp your head around that vibration of things, don't tap into this further. And trigger warning, this is in relation to a sick-minded, broken woman who you unfortunately call your mom. Okay, this is to my breed of feminine, masculine energy, my collective, okay, and to those new joining me. If you feel drawn to the title and to what I just said about your mother, unfortunately, this is for you. And to say that this is spiritually based would be an understatement because I feel like this is only for people who have been through spiritual warfare, okay, from their mother. So that's just tap into that. So in the previous message, please go check it out if you haven't, because this will confuse you. This is a continuation of it. So here we go, beloved. Your father, right? I feel that they laid a hand in the contribution of your mother's insanity because your mother's love for your father was desirably indifferent to a crazy baby mama. Okay. So basically, the analogy is a crazy baby mama energy. And imagine that. And imagine your own perspective of that as an adult. Don't look at it from the inner child traumatized self because it will cloud your judgment. Okay, beloved? Leave the inner traumatized child aside and seek some form of deeper understanding of your childhood in your adult level of consciousness. Understand your trauma so that you can beat it. That's the only way. That's how you activate the healing. And to understand it would be to allow yourself to hear the things that hurt the most. Allow it to bring outside of you what needs to come outside of you. If it's that thought of getting therapy, let it come outside of you. If it's the fact that this tempered with your self-esteem because of the mirror magic, beauty potions that were done to you as a child, newborn, fresh out of the womb, things you didn't know because you were targeted as a child spiritually first. Hence, you can be this powerful now. Your protection isn't for nothing or didn't come at a cost. You beat the spirits, the unwanted spirits. So whatever this message brings outside of you, allow it, go to a private room if you need to find yourself in a comfortable place to listen. So let's tap in here. So your mother has some form of trauma from her mother because the unexperienced motherly love, generational curse that is bound to you and your family generationally, that might continue or end with you depending on your deeds, choices and decisions, unwise or wise. There's a curse that was placed upon your family where people didn't get to experience the motherly love they needed, and therefore that led to deep wounded mommy issues that would make you cringe if you know you allow yourself to think back to how traumatized this all made you for real before you allowed yourself to accept the healing process. You had to see it first, and you still are every day. And I feel like this is someone who this is a mother energy, a breed of a mother energy that is like damn near representation of what we in astrology call Lilith. Lilith is the epitome of a bad mother. Lilith is a bad woman, not just a bad mother. That's why I gave the analogy of brokenness. Your mother was broken young, damaged here, like truly. And I feel like you never got that side of her because it was never there to begin with. For a side of anyone to reveal itself, that side of a nurturing mother, the person presenting that energy has to be in a healed state of being, or at least trying to heal themselves for the betterment of the child that they decided to keep. But your mother's choice to neglect the traumatic outcome that you experienced, your mother's neglect to hold themselves to be held accountable here, like, because I feel like you're dealing with someone who didn't want to acknowledge how deeply of a bad mother they truly are. So listen to what I just heard. They didn't want to acknowledge that they were truly a bad mother. They don't. It's not about them not wanting to acknowledge that they traumatize a child. It's about the status quo of how they look in front of other people. You're dealing with a breed of a Lilith, a bad mother analogy that doesn't know how to be without a man. This is a mother energy of yours. This is your mother here, a feminine energy that in her time, in her prime of looking beautiful as a woman, supposedly, right? She would dress up to look good for other men instead of trying to build a successful life. I feel like your mother here, she was a whore. In her time, 16 to 19, she already had several bodies. And I feel like this was spiritually weakening to her rank, not allowing her to see things clearly, allowing her to stay in toxic relationships, even when it was deadly or predatorial. Even if it was like, I'm getting a reference here of the analogy of what's how I'm trying to explain this. You know, growing up, there would be times where like, so okay, God wants me to share with you a part of my childhood. So I grew up in a very poor environment. I'm not gonna speak about my home life because that has nothing to do with you, respectfully. However, I am gonna include you in my upbringing as an individual. I was always intrigued by the sociopathic nature of women. I was like a neurotic when it came to that. I was obsessed when it came to understanding women. I already had figured out men at a young age, but I wanted to figure out women. And I trained myself to think like the vibration of the average woman, not in my vibration, because I was too self absorbed within wanting to be better, that I neglected the fact that there are people that are okay with holding grudges, being dark, evil. I was so self absorbed in not wanting to be an evil motherfucker that I neglected to see that there were some people around me, my own mother included, who wanted me dead. So, this analogy that I'm giving is like, spiritually, I feel like you were born to have some form of spiritual inheritance that none of your family members were meant to experience or have in their presence. Because I feel that your path was already set out by God. He knew what would come out of your childhood and what it would bring out of you. So here you are, here we are, you found my vibration, you've matched it, and we are healing on a better journey and not in that sad vibration, because none of it matters now. But in the past, it was different. It mattered. Don't lie to yourself and say that it didn't, because that will stop you from seeing things clearly. You'll start projecting. Yes, it did hurt in the past. It has passed. It's in the past for a reason. Allow yourself to release that baggage. It's like predatory women are prone to always seek some form of darkness, right? We're speaking about your mother here. Whether it's psychological darkness, like dark thinker, someone that just takes it there to the pit of the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we fucking go. Down the rabbit hole we fucking go, bitches. I feel like this should be a fun reading if you understand it from a psychological standpoint of view and what this means about you if you resonate with this. It's like, what I mean is, your mom is like you, just your shadow aspect self. So I feel like your life has gone by fast. Like, it feels like now, looking back at everything, it feels like it never happened, or it seems so far out because of how elevated you've become in your quality of life, your quality of the quality of yourself, who you have become has led you unto greater pastures. And what's unfolding in your life is true healing, the true definition of healing. Because I feel like you are seeking a relationship with God through what you do, through how you are, and through your heart. God cares about your heart. You can show him, you can speak all that sweet nothing of how you're going to change and how you're going to do better. But when he looks at you through your Jesus, your heart, your goodwill, he sees differently. So it's like you had a different heart than your mother. He knew that. God knew. As he appointed this Lilith feminine energy who became your mother, as God allowed her to breed you and form you in the womb, I feel that your mother's deception led her to her decree of insanity. What that means is her betrayal to your father. She couldn't live with that. She cheated on the right man. Back to the fact that she was a whore now, sleeping around with many men. Because back to the fact that if you watch the previous video, you're gonna get lost. Okay? Don't be in the comments asking the plot twist here. Go gather your shit and come back. Back to the fact that she was a whore. Every man was lusting after her sexually, and she desired that way of being seen. That led to her demise because of the right man came along, and that behavior, that deception was unforgivable because of the trust. That man was your father. They had a trust bond. Like, okay, we were gonna, there was some form of agreement of this relationship. That you didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't like it if it's like it wasn't a mistake that you were born. Definitely not. But the baby making process came from the love they had for one another. It came out of the love. It's like it would be different if it was a one night stand and then you were abandoned because your mom slept around with a one night stand guy. That would have been a tragic story. But it's different because these people were in a relationship. So think outside of the box of your trauma. Start thinking differently, beloved. Start thinking in a more healed nature about it. Like, who would want to stay with a whole ass woman who doesn't know how to keep it in her pants? This is not to offend anybody. This is just reality. You cheat on your man or you cheat on your woman. You expect them to stick around after the promise, the trust being broken? Nah, nah. So don't blame your father for that. Understand him and what he had to go through. He's human. It's like if you were to if you were to have if I were to have a child, I would never implicate anything upon her or him because they're fresh into life. Whether or not they were bred out of wedlock or whether or not they came through my faults or my actions that led to my demise, it's not the child's fault. They have nothing to do with it. So why take upon the burden, why place burden upon a child with no, with pure innocence here? Like, I feel like you were innocent, and I feel like the cruelty of this woman who's your mother was beyond you. I'm seeing something. I feel like you were spoon fed spiritual deception. You were told lies, spiritual lies, to keep you stuck in a certain illusion. Spiritual lies could be that you need to be afraid of tarot. You need to be afraid of ancestry. You need to be afraid of knowing your roots. You need to be afraid of this and that. Projection of fear upon your life, your plans, your goals, your ambition to be better. Don't you remember how she used to make you feel bad about wanting to be a better person, even if it was not in the normal societal way that they supposedly thought was the right way, or brother. She thought you were supposed to be certain way, and she wasn't satisfied with the way that you were, and she wanted a different outcome out of you, and she tried to break you down psychologically. Don't you remember? Don't you remember her words would slaughter you to death, to tears, to tears? That's the cruelty. I feel like your mother here was beautiful, you know. Growing up, she was beautiful, she was charming, she was the type of woman that everyone wanted to experience. But because of her self-worth issues, due to whatever trauma she was facing, she wasn't able to withhold herself from these men who were so desperate for her energy. Because she would give it to them. She would give it. They were craving it because they tasted it before. I don't think you understand here, man. Your mother was like, she was not respected by these men. She was looked down upon because she would give herself out a lot to men. Men who one had no desire of loving her. Hence, there was abuse, emotional, physical, verbal, could have been sexual. That speaks a lot, that speaks volumes about your mom's trauma. One which you might not even know your mother like that. You might not even have gotten to you. It's like, man, that's just a broken woman to you. And with righteousness, you were able to deflect from her negativity. Now you're in a different place. Now you see things from a different perspective, and you are done allowing yourself to be placed in a position of another person's projections taking control of your life, another person's fears, allowing you to be fearful. Someone here was, this was a mother who was so fearful of who you would become. Like, who you would become was scary to her. She tried to stop that. Like, it was like, nah, how can I think of a way? How can I think of a way to block this person? So, oh, I create a bond, somewhat of a psychological way to make them hate themselves, question themselves, so that they don't get to their destination. Because I'm that pathetic of a mother to not want better for my child when I know how it feels to be treated in this way too by the very same people I allowed. They allowed themselves to go through these things in their life because they made unwise, ill decisions that got them to that point of being treated like a whore because they were hoeing. Slut because they were slutting. Oh, being dicked down. And that was fun while you were traumatized, right? Mother, dearest. Oh, I know you watching. You too much of a crazy stalker bitch not to watch me. What happened to you was brutal, leaving you unscathed though, because here you are. I'm gonna get real disrespectful. Ain't nobody ever seen me like this, huh? Y'all don't know me, man. I be smiling and shit, but y'all don't know shit about me. So here we are. I feel the energy of when you were born, you were already a different child outside of the normal breed of children that surrounded you in your childhood. You vibrated differently. You appeared to be different. You were different in thought. You were different in ways of being. Because of that, that made you objective to societal norms. You could not stand for certain things. your morale virtue. It's not that you were trying to be a rebel against the world. It's like you saw right for right and wrong for wrong. And the problem back then was that you wouldn't be able to keep quiet about that. Like you would say, like, but that's wrong though. Why are you doing that? Not just to her, but to every family member, every relative who deserved it. And it's because you were a good person, you were paying attention to the right things, which is what they failed to do. Your mother failed to pay attention to the right things. She neglected you because she neglected herself, and she was neglected, and she just took upon that burden and said, take it. When you didn't even choose to be of existence, she kept you. Her decision, but never taking accountability, putting you in a place to hate yourself for a long time because you felt misunderstood by the very same person that you felt like they should get it though. They my mother. But I feel this mother wanted to purposely misunderstand you so that you lose your uniqueness in thinking that it's wrong to be like that. Do you see how much of a sly motherfucker you dealing with? Do you see the type of person that you are in intellect because you are so good? You are way smarter because you don't think with filth. Now I feel like you have this woman shook, how things have become, who you have be, how you say, what you do. They can't understand and grasp it. Do you understand? For you to have made it out of that spiritual battle would be that you earned your stripes. You earned your place in life because in the Bible it says God will will allow the children to be burdened with the parents' unwise choices and decisions. That allow it, it's a curse. It's like that's what generational curses are. And to break free, it's to break that karmic curse within yourself. So are you gonna become like your mother? That was the karmic cycle you were in for a long time. Watching the person that you supposedly called your mother, that you thought cared, be a ruthless motherfucking monster to you. And having to decide if you're gonna be the same way or not. That was the challenge. You broke free from that. Karmically, we're here now, aren't we? I'm here now, aren't I, mother dearest? So now I feel like you're dealing with this mother of yours who suddenly doesn't remember. Suddenly, guilt has stripped them away from the memories of the torture or the cruelty, the ruthlessness. Do you know the movie Mommy Dearest? To those who resonate with this, I don't need to get further into details about how far a broken woman can go, how capable they are of the level of cruelty, also dependent on their level of consciousness. How smart is the bitch? Huh? Mommy dearest? Huh. Nothing more, nothing less here, but this is it, okay? This is your redemption. This is what it means to break the curse. Stop seeing that person as your mother. That was a blood-sucking person who was there to end your life all along. Mother is a title if it's not earned. Ain't no mother wanted to kill their damn child. That's a fucking broken woman that you need to release yourself from. You healed and are healing. Grace of God allowed that. You could have turned out differently. No one wanted to believe you, right? Here we are now. The proof is in the motherfucking pudding. I'm out. I love you guys. I will definitely see you next time. I hope to see you soon if you are new to the channel, okay? I'm sending you nothing but love, beloved. Until next time. Bye.